Welcome to this place of peace. May we find some moments of quiet contemplation. Welcome to this place of celebration. May our hearts soar with gratitude for the gift of life. Welcome to this place of sacred love. May we gently hold all that is broken here. Welcome to this place of inquiry. Here, may we be challenged to open our minds and hearts. Come into this place of community. May we, together, draw the circle of love and justice ever wider. Welcome to this sacred place. Come, let us worship, celebrate, grieve, and love together. These opening words by Kathy Ryan Starr welcome all those who have gathered this morning for our Sunday service. Welcome to those of you who have gathered in person at Essex Church, and also to all who are joining us via Zoom from far and wide. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Patricia Brewerton, and I'm a member of this congregation, Kensington Unitarians. This service is on the theme of sacred places. It's a congregational service, and we're going to hear reflections on the theme from 4 members of our congregation: Charlotte Chanteloup, Alex Brianson, Pat Gregory, and Julia Alden. It was Julia who suggested this topic in the first place. each of whom is going to share something about a special place that is particularly sacred to them. And there's an invitation for each of us to call to mind those spaces that are sacred to us too. As we often say here, we make this hour sacred with our presence and intention. So let's take a moment before we go any further today to recall what that intention is as we gather here again. We join together as a gathered spiritual community, travelling from all over London and beyond, and sitting at our screens in places all over the world to co-create something special together, a space where we can take time out from the hurly-burly and focus on what matters most in life. So let's take a few breaths to ground and center ourselves. Let us prepare our hearts to worship. Let's light our chalice flame now as you do each week. This simple ritual connects us in solidarity with Unitarians and Unitarian Universalists the world over and reminds us of the proud and historic progressive religious tradition of which we are a part. The flaming chalice is the symbol of our faith. It is an everlasting flame for this community. It offers warmth to those who are cold. It provides light to those who would see. It transforms this sanctuary into a sacred space, this congregation into a sacred community. May its flame burn true and high and strong. Now let's sing together. Our first hymn is number 194 in the Purple Hymn Book, We Light the Flame. For those joining via Zoom, the words will be up on your screen to sing along at home. Feel free to stand or sit as you prefer as we sing. And let's take those joys and concern into an extended time of prayer now. This prayer is partly based on some words by Susan Manker Seal. You might first want to adjust your position for comfort. Close your eyes or soften your gaze. There may be a posture that helps you feel more powerful. Whatever works for you, do whatever you need to do to get into the right state of mind and body to pray together, to be fully present here and now in this sacred time and space with ourselves, with each other, and with that which is within and beyond. Spirit of life, God of all love, in whom we live and move and have our being, we turn our full attention to you, the light within and without, as we tune into the depths of this life and the greater wisdom to which and through which we are all intimately connected. Be with us now as we allow ourselves to drop into the silence and stillness at the very center of our being. As we gather this morning in this sacred space we co-create, we embody the yearning of all people to touch each other more deeply, to hear each other more keenly, to see each other's joys and sorrows as our own, and know that we are not alone. May we help each other to proclaim the possibilities we see, to create the community we desire, to worship what is worthy in our lives, to teach the truth as we know it, and to serve with justice in all the ways that we can to end our yearning is assuaged and our lives fulfilled in one another. Let us take a few moments now to look back over the past week, sit quietly for a while, and inwardly give thanks for those joys and pleasures we have felt along the way. Moments of love, friendship, and camaraderie, experiences of wonder and delight, reassurance and relief, bursts of playfulness, spontaneity, and generosity, feelings of achievement, creativity, and flow. All those times when we have felt most alive and awake. Let us also take some time to ask for the consolation, forgiveness, and guidance we may need as we acknowledge our sorrows and regrets. Times of loss, pain, anger, and fear, periods of uncertainty and anxious waiting, realization of our own weaknesses, mistakes, and failings, awarenesses of missed opportunity, those things left unsaid or undone, those moments when we have struggled and felt like a mess. Expanding our circle of concern, let us bring to mind those people, places, and situations that are in need in prayer right now. Maybe friends or loved ones, those closest to our heart. Maybe those we find difficult or where there's conflict going on. Maybe those we don't know so well or who we've heard about in the news. And let's take a few minutes now to hold them in the light of love. Spirit of life, God of all love. As this time of prayer comes to a close, we offer up our joys and concerns, our hopes and fears, our beauty and brokenness, and we call on you for insight, healing, and renewal. As we look forward now to the coming week, help us to live well each day and be our best selves, using our unique gifts in the service of love, justice, and peace. Amen.
Holy is this place by Maureen Killoran. Blessed is this ground on which we stand. Holy is this place. Holy are the places of memory, the places which have formed us, where we store the icons of success and shattered dreams, and gather threads and pieces of what we would become. Holy are the places of memory. Holy are the places of the dream, the places over the rainbow, where all children are wanted and all people are fed, where colours are the source of celebration and youth and age come to the table as one. Holy are the places of the dream. Holy are the places of change and pain, the places of our struggle, where the rivers of our lives run white and fast, and we hold on, and grow. Holy are the places of change and pain. Holy are the places of connection, the places where we risk ourselves, where hands, touch souls, touch minds, and in awareness still, we change our lives. Holy are the places of connection. Holy are the places of becoming, the places of clear vision, where life and world are intertwined, and we can see forever in this moment and give thanks. Holy are the places of becoming. Blessed is the ground on which we stand. Holy and whole-making is this place.
Time to sing again. Our next hymn is a lovely one. It's number 208, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. The words will be on the screen as usual. Feel free to stand or sit as you prefer. When our heart is in a holy place.
Amen. In 2019, I went to Great Hucklow to attend summer school for the first time. After that, because of COVID, a version of summer school took place online, until this year, when Great Hucklow was once again taken over for the last week of August. When I walked in after 4 years, everything still felt the same. The memory of the place was so embedded in my brain that I felt like I had never left. I remembered where everything was, how things worked, who the people that I had met then were. I was able to pick up conversations where we had left them 4 years ago. But not everything was simple. A lot happened in my life since 2019. So catching up with friends meant I had to explain over and over that I had moved back to France and that my mom had passed. I guess I could have just kept quiet about the difficult parts of the past 4 years. But that's not the spirit of summer school, and I didn't want to lie to people with whom I had shared many things. I was very upset my first 2 days. Everything felt overwhelming. I realized that the life I lead now has become very quiet as opposed to when I lived in London. But as the week went on, I felt better as I found my marks again. The Nightingale Centre hasn't changed. It is still surrounded by grand, beautiful landscapes. The stars still shine when we make our way back from the chapel after the evening service. I have changed there, and reconciling this new me with this place took a few days. I felt so safe and surrounded there that I was able to let go of some of the grief I still carry. I knew that I would be caught if I stumbled, and that's what happened. I stumbled, and people I had not talked to in 4 years, but still felt like I knew deeply, caught me and made me feel better. Now I could say that the sacred place is not actually a place, but the people we surround ourselves with. But I don't think it's quite true in this case. Yes, the wonderful people I had deep talks with at any point of the day are holy, and our relationships are holy. However, the Nightingale Centre is ingrained in me also as a place where I came to deep realizations about my life and my faith. I think Hucklow is sacred because of its purpose as a place to hold religious events, and because people choose to make it sacred by sharing pieces of themselves and by welcoming what others share.
My sacred place is not one I can go to most of the time, except in my head. It's tucked away in the Swedish region of Värmland, and it's just off the road that eventually gets you to Stockholm if you travel on a few hours. It's in a small town where my friends live, and I've visited so many times now, it's a home from home. It's called Molkom. They've been there for such a long time, I've seen their kids grow up there. I've seen them get older. I've seen my friend turn her garden into a beautiful growing space for dozens of food plants. I've seen businesses come and go while the local Coop supermarket anchors the town with its perseverance in the centre. I've seen all of the seasons. I've swum in the lake. I've walked around all the quixotic street patterns of the place. I've played tennis on the courts round the corner from where my friends live. I've stayed almost sleepless in those long summer nights with nearly no darkness. I've also eaten enormous quantities of pizza from the local takeaway joint and Marabou chocolate, cinnamon buns, grated carrot. In Sweden, there is always grated carrot. I've flown there. I've approached it on the train from Oslo and from Stockholm and from Gothenburg. I've even driven there once through the Channel Tunnel and through the Netherlands to Germany and the ferry to Sweden. This place is sacred to me because it's my home. even though I don't live there. It's where I'm welcome and loved and valued. It's where people I love offer friendship and love and kindness. I have cried there. I have worked there. I have helped and advised and supported there. I've also talked to God there in Molcom and had important conversations. You can call them monologues if you're a bit more prosaic than I am, with my late parents. There are two places that I choose for this. One of them is the shore of the local lake, where I have sat and stood and walked and offered up my fears and my joys and my sadnesses. The other is the yard of the local church, which stands on a hillside and looks out over the lake to a vast forest. In the summer sunlight, it's particularly spectacular, with the water sparkling and the flowers lazily dancing their dance of the seven veils for the local insect population. The Garden of Remembrance practically begs me to slow down, to think, to feel, and to be grateful. It's the kind of place I'm contractually bound to think of Mary Oliver, and when she asks what I will do with my one wild and precious life, I tell her that one of the things on the list is going to Molcom. It's not as untouched or as wild as many of the places she treasured, but I think she'd approve nonetheless.
Thanks, Charlotte and Alex. We're moving into a time of meditation now. I'm going to share just a brief quote on the theme of sacred space, words which are on the front of the order of service, in fact, and which are on the website with the text of the whole service. And I'm going to invite you to take this into a time of reflection on spaces and places which are sacred to you. This will take us into about 3 minutes of silence, which will end with the sound of a bell. Then we'll hear some lovely music to continue the meditative mood. So let's each do what we need to do to get comfortable. Adjust your position if you need to. Put your feet flat on the floor to ground yourself. Close your eyes. The words are just an offering. Feel free to meditate in your own way. Al-Hujwiri wrote, "Devotees look for sacred space to pray, but the friends of unity find sacred space anywhere. For them, the whole world is God's meeting place. While still veiled, they find the world dark, but when the veil lifts, they can see that the beloved lives everywhere." So as we move into a few minutes of shared stillness, I invite you to reflect on those spaces and places that have been sacred in your life. Maybe places of great natural beauty or architectural wonder. Maybe places where you have made precious memories with loved ones. Maybe quite humble places which have become sacred to you through familiarity. Maybe spaces that are not physical, as such, perhaps virtual spaces that are precious to you, spaces that have become sanctified through the intention and care that has been brought to them. The friends of unity find sacred space anywhere.
We Meet on Holy Ground by Richard Gilbert. We meet on holy ground, for that place is holy where lives touch, love moves, hope stirs. How much we need this moment before the eternal, the time to be in reverence before the ultimate, the pause that renews, the interlude that refreshes, the space that gives room to be. We meet on holy ground, brought into being as life encounters life, as personal histories merge into the communal story, as we take on the pride and the pain of our companions, as separate selves become community. How desperate is our need for one another, our silent beckoning to our neighbours, our invitations to share life and death together, our welcome into the lives of those we meet, and their welcome into our own. May our souls capture this treasured time. May our spirits celebrate our meeting in this time and in this space. For we meet on holy ground.
Can you hear me? In 1998, I was a single mum with 2 children and was running a community centre. Life was busy and I was exhausted and in need of a place to retreat and recharge, but could not leave my children for long. My work involved being with people who were at the end of their lives, and I attended a workshop run by Buddhists about death and dying. Whilst there, I found out about a place where I could go on short, silent retreats. This was the Amaravati Buddhist Monastery in Great Gaddesden in Hertfordshire. I immediately booked myself on the next available retreat and found myself at the monastery a few weeks later. I felt nervous on the day that I arrived, but this soon fell away when I felt the energy of this peaceful place with its beautiful wooden temple. There were fields and woods, and the gardens were well loved. Accommodation was very basic, but all my needs were met and no charge was made for my stay, but donations were welcome. The retreats were led by monks and nuns in the Theravada tradition of South Asia and included periods of guided and silent meditation, walk-in meditation, and Buddhist teachings. We did not speak for the whole retreat. If we had a question, this was written and given to the teacher, who would read it out and give an answer at the end of the meditation session. The first meditation of the day was at 5:30 a.m. before breakfast, followed by a working meditation where we were all assigned a job to do around the center. And then lunch at 12, which was the last meal of the day. The afternoon was a mix of sit-in and walk-in meditations. Some chocolate and cheese were sometimes offered in the evening, as these were seen as medicinal. This was the first time I had been in silence for so long, and it was challenging, but soon the energy, love, and compassion that I felt from this community began to feel like home. This started a whole new chapter in my life, and I went on to do many longer silent retreats. Some were run jointly by Buddhists and Christians, and I appreciated the monastery's openness to other religious beliefs. Being at Amaravati taught me to become aware of the stillness within and how being simply present in the here and now is a lifelong practice. I am forever grateful for the generosity of the monks and nuns who gave their time so freely and showed me that I do not need to look outside of myself to be in my spiritual place. Thank you.
Personal experiences do shape our core beliefs about our connection to spirituality. For many, nothing is more spiritually connecting than the natural environment. A place that I have visited and that led to a strong spiritual experience is Ghost Ranch in New Mexico. It was a serendipitous spiritual experience, I would say. I went to Ghost Ranch for the first time in the early 1990s. I was drawn to Ghost Ranch because of my love for the painter Georgia O'Keeffe. O'Keeffe, who spent many years in New York City and was married to the photographer Alfred Stieglitz, started visiting a place near Ghost Ranch called Abbey Q in the Chama River Valley. And at a certain point in her career, she kept returning and never really left there. The place had such an extraordinary impact on her and her work. Ghost Ranch itself was originally a Presbyterian retreat and has become a kind of non-denominational retreat center. O'Keeffe is famous for her iconic larger-than-life flower paintings, but she also created hundreds of landscape images of the phenomenally beautiful, multi-hued mesas and cliffs near Ghost Ranch. It would certainly be the time now for me to show you some slides of her paintings so that you could get an image of its splendor, but hopefully you already have that image of an American southwestern landscape and some of O'Keeffe's famous paintings of that area. Ghost Ranch is a haven for artists, writers, hikers, and nature enthusiasts. I too hiked while I was there. There is a particular hike that takes you to some of the exact places that are in many of O'Keeffe's paintings. And that is where I had what I consider my first and most notable spiritual experience. It came as I was standing on a hiking trail amidst the vibrant red and yellow sandstone mesas and under a dramatic clear blue sky. A definition for spiritual experience. I got this from, it was my first time using ChatGPT. How does ChatGPT? GPT. A spiritual experience is a deeply personal and often profound encounter or connection with something greater than oneself. It transcends the physical and material aspects of life and can be characterized by a sense of awe, inner peace, and a feeling of connectedness with the universe or a higher power. A spiritual experience thus refers to a state of mind being regarded by the subject as beyond an ordinary explanation caused by the presence of God or some other religious or ultimate factor. This experience at Ghost Ranch was totally serendipitous for me, unexpected, and in many ways life-changing. Obviously, spiritual experiences are very personal and subjective. On that day, what transcended for me was the sense that I was not praying or reaching out to connect with God, but that the earth, the sky, and all the natural surroundings were communing spiritually with me. It wasn't an awakening per se, but a boundless sense of oneness with the earth, with the sky, with all that was surrounding me. For a moment, no more than 30 seconds, I felt the earth move. I sensed tremendous joy running through my body. It was bliss and rapture. It was light surrounding me in hope and awe of a world of abundance and grace. I've been seeking similar experiences ever since that day. I've done a lot of traveling, which has taken me to some of the most noted sacred places in the world. I've been to Bodhanath Stupa in Nepal, Borobudur, Indonesia, Angkor Wat in Cambodia, the Sistine Chapel in Rome, Bodh Gaya, India, Lourdes, and the list goes on. I've not found a place that touched me quite as deeply as Ghost Ranch, and that experience has been a channel for me to find other spiritual rituals. I'm not sure why it happened in that place and why it happened at that time. Certainly, the geographic area has all kinds of elements that contribute to a spiritual experience. Apart from the extraordinary geographic environs, Ghost Ranch is a place that has a deep and rich antiquity of Native American presence that dates back thousands of years. There is also a strong Catholic culture established by the existence of the Spanish in the 18th century. Ghost Ranch itself has an abundance of religious and artistic offerings, bringing people together from all over the world to learn, meditate, and create. And two, there were ancient dinosaurs roaming this land during the late Triassic period. Some of the oldest fossils are still found on this site. Some say that even its name, Ghost Ranch, or Rancho de los Brujos, Ranch of the Witches, was given because of the supernatural powers that existed within the space of the sky and the earth. For many possible reasons, there I found a spiritual connection to the infinite in a way that profoundly changed my own interior world. I also am nervous because I've never shared I don't think I've ever shared this experience before. So thank you for letting me share my spiritual experience with you. And I hope that it may spark a memory of your own spiritual experiences. And thank you, Ms. O'Keefe, for immortalizing this sacred place. I finish with a prayer by Tagore from his book, The Heart of God. It's called The Stream of Life. The same stream of life that runs through my veins night and day runs through the world and dances in rhythmic measures. It is the same life that shoots in joy through the dust of the earth in numberless blades of grass and breaks into tumultuous waves of leaves and flowers. It is the same life that is rocked in the ocean cradle of birth and death in ebb and flow. I feel my limbs made glorious by the touch of this world of life, and my pride is from the life throb of ages dancing in my blood in this moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat and Julia. We are now going to sing our last hymn, which is number 167, There Is a Place I Call My Own.
There
to Charlotte, Alex, Pat and Julia for sharing their reflections today. Thanks to Brian and David for reading. Thanks to Ramona for tech hosting and Janine for co-hosting at home. Thanks and apologies, well, not to George. I think I might have had George, right? But I got the musicians wrong on the order of service. You'll be glad Jane will be back next week. But thanks to Abby, Xinyue, and Gavin for lovely music. And for Benji, you are on the order of service. Thanks, Hannah, for greeting, and for John for stepping in at the last moment and making coffee. For all of you who are here in person, please do stay around for a cuppa and a chat. And if you're joining us online, hang on after the service for a chat with Janine. We have various small group activities during the week. Heart and Soul, our contemplative spiritual gathering, takes place twice a week online. It's a great way to get to know people. This week's theme is good faith. Email Janine to sign up for tonight or Jane for Friday. This autumn, we're starting a regular community singing group on Wednesday evenings twice a month. It's a collaboration with a local musician who's been running a Singing for Fun group in the area for over 20 years. Has very kindly offered to branch out and start a spin-off group here. Everyone is welcome, and you don't need to read music or anything else. The repertoire is mostly classic pop songs. And the first session is going to be this coming Wednesday, 11th of October at 7 p.m. It's free of charge. It'd be really good if we had a decent turnout of the congregation members for this great opportunity for us to make connections in the local area. I think it's going to be fun, so do come along. And next Saturday, we have the long-awaited induction service at 3 p.m. This marks the official commencement of the new ministry, even though Jane has been around for a while. There will be tea, cake, and bunting, and for friends from all over the place will join in the celebration. But more than that, it's a chance to express our hopes and intentions for this ministry and to pledge our commitment to the future of the congregation and its mission. We'll need some people to help out with greeting, to bake cakes, and generally help out on the day. So I'm organising refreshments, and I have had some offers of cakes. And we're expecting 50 people in the building and at least 20 online, so it's going to be good. And Jane, thank goodness, will be back next Sunday, and it will be followed by Singing with Margaret. This congregation very much has a life beyond Sunday mornings, and we encourage you to keep in touch with each other, look out for each other, and do what you can to nurture supportive connections. Just time for our closing words and closing music. The benediction is based on words by Andy Bakula. As you prepare to leave this sacred space, pack away a piece of this church in your heart. Wrap it carefully like a precious gem. Carry it with you through the joys and sorrows of your days. Let its gentle glow strengthen you, warm you, remind you of all that is good and true until you gather here again in this place. May it be so. Amen.